Hello, everyone. I'm Angeline, and she's Resa, and welcome to episode 106 of With the Quickness.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Yeah, I hope everybody is doing well. We are on the last Sunday of June, June 26, 2022. And so we're going to share our takeaways of what happened at the Potter's House in Dallas, Texas, and at First Baptist Church in Lincoln Gardens in Somerset, New Jersey. Resa, what's your big takeaway from the Potter's House today?
So my takeaway is you cannot have faith without having hope.
Okay, my takeaway from First Baptist Church of Lincoln Gardens is don't confuse passion with power. We're going to get to those sermons a little later in the show, but right now we're going to move to Resa's playlist. Resa, what's the big song of the week this week?
So the song of the week this week is actually by a well-known gospel singer. His name is Marvin Sapp. You may have heard of him. I'm going to read a couple things that I found after doing some research on him. So his full name is Bishop Marvin Lewis Sapp Sr. He is an American gospel music singer-songwriter who recorded with the group commissioned during the 90s. Before beginning a record-breaking solo career, Bishop Sapp is also the founder and former senior pastor of Lighthouse Full Life Center Church, which is located in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And currently he was, as of November 17th, 2019, he was installed as a senior pastor of the Chosen Vessel in Fort Worth, Texas. Now, some of the songs that you may have heard of are Never Would Have Made It, which came out in,
love that song,
2007. And again, I know that song recently had a resurgence because someone decided to mix it with house music. So for those of us that were in the club,
was it on Club Quarantine?
Honestly, I believe it was on Club Quarantine at one point, but he is known for his inspirational songs. So he has that song out. He also has, he also received 2 BET awards in 2008 and 2010 for Best Gospel Artist. He also won a Dove Award in 2011 for his Song of the Year for The Best in Me, and he was nominated 11 times for a Grammy Award.
Oh, wow. But he's never won yet. He hasn't won yet.
No, not yet.
Ooh, hopefully it's coming up soon, because this song you picked is what? Is it off a latest album or is it an older song?
So it's actually off of his latest album that just came out this month, actually. He has a new album out called Substance. It came out June 10th of this year. And the song that I picked for this week is All in Your Hands. All in His Hands. So basically, the song is about giving everything up to God because we are living in very uncertain times. And I know it can be very frustrating and you can feel hopeless sometimes. But if you just pray and you give it up to God, God, it will take care of it.
Oh, I love that song. I think that song goes really well with the talks that we had today. Right. But if this is his album that just came out, this could be the Grammy Award-winning album.
This could be. This could be. Right.
So, I mean, when you heard the song, what made you pick it? Like, what resonated with you when you heard it?
So, to be honest, I picked this song because, as you know, as of lately, I've been feeling very anxious, and sometimes I've been feeling very hopeless by just the times that we're living in and the things that have happened recently. So I just wanted a song that gave me some type of hope and something that I could that could make me remember that, when I feel that way, like I can always pray about it, and God will find a way to find a solution to the problem.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. I've heard the song a lot on XM radio, so it's getting great airplay, and I really think that everyone is really hoping he will get nominated for a Grammy next year for it. It's really some good work. I haven't listened to the rest of the songs on the album, but I'm glad this is part of part of our playlist, and it's going to be featured as a song of the week for the end of June, going into the 4th of July weekend. This is great. I think everyone should give it a listen to.
I definitely agree. And again, I do want to apologize that the name of the song is All in Your Hands. So that's the song of the week, All in Your Hands.
And which album is it from again?
It is from his It is from his latest album that just came out this month called Substance.
Substance. Okay. He probably end up doing one of those tours with a couple other gospel singers about it. You know how they all do that. And that's where everybody's going to really see the whole body of the work. So congratulations. It's Bishop Sapp, right? He's Bishop,
Yes,
right?
Bishop
I gotta get
Sapp.
that right. There's so many different, you could be a reverend, you could be a bishop. I gotta get all this straight. Okay. And I'm sure his congregation is probably telling everybody coming through the door, get our bishop's album on the way out.
Of course. I love Bishop Sapp. Like, I've loved all his songs throughout the years. Like, you know, Never Would Have Made It Again. The regular and even the house music version. Yeah. And I also loved his song, what's it called? The Best in Me, like, you know, he saw the best in me. That's my song. Yeah. It's an inspirational song. Because sometimes you need those songs that just remind you, like, to keep going.
Yeah.
And he's that guy for me. Like, when I need some type of inspiration
on Wednesday mornings,
I will pull up a Marvin Sapp song.
Yeah, because the week sometimes gets long, and you need them songs going to help you get through.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So thank you, Resa. We really appreciated you telling us that you added that to the playlist. And if anyone has any other selections that you think Miss Resa should listen to, Resa, where should they email you?
So they can email me at resa@withquickness.com.
All right, great. And hopefully somebody will. And if not, I know next week you're going to have a great song anyway, because you are just finding these songs. You just really are.
I am.
Okay, Resa, before I let you go, though, you said there's something else going on the music front today.
So today is the BET Awards, which I'm excited about. Of course, we do have some gospel nominees. The nominee is for the Dr. Bobby Jones Best Gospel or Inspirational Award. And the nominees are All in Your Hands, Marvin Sapp, Come to Life by Kanye West, Grace by Kelly Price, Hallelujah by Fred Hammond, Hold Us Together, Hope Remix by Her and Turin Wells. I believe that this is Jehovah, Elevation Worship in Maverick City. Again, I apologize if I said the name of the song wrong. And We Win by Little Baby and Kurt Franklin. There will be a performance by Kurt Franklin tonight, and there will also be a tribute to Diddy, and I believe the Maverick City group will be a part of that tribute. So definitely tune in, because it's going to be very inspirational, I believe.
Oh my gosh, that's going to be a great lineup. I mean, as far as those that are up for the award and for that wonderful gospel selection they're going to do tonight. So that comes on around 8:00, right?
Yep, 8:00 on BET. Okay,
so those of you that are listening or watching this after Sunday night, please check the rebroadcast, right? I'm sure it should be on somewhere in your local stations or on demand.
Or on YouTube.
Or on YouTube. That's right. Some of the best. Sometimes I do watch it on Monday morning when I couldn't stay up to watch an award show. I will go to YouTube and put in the name of the artist and then put BET or put in, whatever station it was on. And then if it comes up, I start watching a little bit there in the morning before I really start my work day. So feel free to do that if you can't watch it on Sunday night, if you forget to watch it. Thanks again, Resa.
You're welcome.
Oh, not a problem. Okay, now we're going to get to the bulk of our show. The first sermon that we're going to look at, it happens at First Baptist Church of Lincoln Gardens, which is my home church. And before I get into the sermon that was given by Reverend Dr. Quick, I want to give you a little breakdown of what was going on in the Sunday services. They started off, the praise and worship team did an amazing job this Sunday, setting the tone in the sanctuary. And then Sister Lisa Thomas, Brother Greg Odom, and Sister Nicole Lance were baptized as new members of the church, and I welcome them wholeheartedly. On his first Sunday as the official pastor of First Baptist Church of Lincoln Gardens, I love saying that, Reverend Dr. Quick, he thanked everyone that gave him cards and gifts and congratulations during his installation. It was a beautiful ceremony. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, please go to the YouTube and take a look at his installation. Some great sermons were also given. And then he shared his thoughts on the Supreme Court of the United States. They gave a decision regarding Roe versus Wade. And I'm going to quote him rather than doing any paraphrasing, because You can also watch and hear his direct words on the YouTube channel where his sermon is. But I wanted to read it for those that don't get a chance to watch that part of the video. This is what he stated regarding the decision. He stated, "This is not about protecting life. If it was, there would be enough baby formula. Everyone would have received vaccines earlier. No one would have to worry about healthcare, and the border would be secure. This isn't about protecting human life. And I'll tell you what it is more about later. But we, as a church, though we will not endorse abortion, we endorse a woman's right to control her body as she would like to control her body." End quote. That's directly from Reverend Dr. Danté Quick. Any thoughts, Resa?
The only thing that I will say is that, again, a woman should have a right to do what she chooses with her body, point blank in the period.
Yeah, I believe the same thing. I think he said it very succinctly, and I wholeheartedly endorse and support my senior pastor in his statement. Now, the service went on with Pastor Justin Henderson. He bore his testimony in the iPressMySpirit spot. He gave a great, great, great sermon the week before. So it's so nice that, Reverend Quick said, go ahead and do the Press My Spirit to end out the month. And he bore his testimony. After that was over, it was time for a beautiful event in the sanctuary. Let me tell you what happened, Resa. Let me tell you what happened. This is the time of year where scholarship and book awards are given to students. And we got to do that this Sunday. So scholarships and gifts were given to students that were heading to college first. Sister Barkley is a strong advocate of the scholarship ministry, and she'll soon be retiring from being the head of it. But she started off, they listed all the students and the amount of money that went out to them. If you want to know how much money was raised, you got to watch the video. It's quite impressive. And the Sunday school also did a presentation of book awards to high school graduates. Then Reverend Dr. Gina Stewart of the Lott, Carey Foreign Mission Convention, she sent her thanks to First Baptist for their monetary gift that they gave during Reverend Quick's installation. And so those that are very much still wanting to donate should do so online, because they can always use more money to help those in need. Then Reverend Quick went on to his sermon, Resa, and it was called Get Out of Your Feelings. It was really, really good. So I told you my big takeaway was don't confuse passion with power. And I'm going to tell you how he got up to that point. He started off with the scriptures in 2 Samuel chapter 16, verses 5 through 14 of the New Revised Standard Version of the Bible. Shimei, who's a man of the family of Saul, he was very upset. He's almost incensed about the wrongs that he perceived were done to his house. And so he was cursing and throwing stones at King David. When King David finally got to the Jordan River, though, he was able to refresh himself and compose himself, according to the scriptures. So Pastor Quick really wanted this whole sermon to be centered around anger. All right. And hence the title, Get Out of Your Feelings. So he's not for the saints to be sitting in anger. And he started off by telling us about when he was a young pastor and how he had a bit of a temper and how over time he learned to let God handle his battles. He said, anger is a central psychobiological emotion. It can influence our body. We must stop giving people the privilege to provoke us into anger. You might have noticed too at times in your life, like, you could be feeling fine and having a wonderful day, and all of a sudden one or two people come in and they stir up your emotions or get you upset about something. And before you know it, you're like, have a headache, or neck aches or migraines or feeling tired. It just wears your whole body down, holding on to something you're upset about. So that's what he wanted us to remember. Anger there's nothing good that kind of comes from it. He said, due to the pandemic, there are more angry people abusing each other and themselves. I mean, there's spousal abuse has gone up. Teenagers cutting themselves has gone up. And he also reminded us that many New Testament churches, they don't want to teach the wrathful God that's in the Old Testament. They rather just teach things in the New Testament, unlike First Baptist and unlike the Potter's House. those pastors over those houses teach every bit of God from, Genesis all the way to Revelations. Yes, the last book in the Bible is Revelations. I had to think for a moment. You saw that?
Yeah.
Think for a moment. And then Pastor Quick went on to tell us two big sections of his sermon. One was what causes anger. He says there's three things according to Dr. Jeffrey Hillenbacher. One is the triggering event, and he gave us the story of Job. Two could be the qualities of the individual, can cause anger, and think about the mob mentality at the January 6th, right? And the third is an individual's ability to assess the situation. Sometimes whatever filter we look through things can make us get angry or make us process it a different way. So he wanted all of us to be very conscious of the different things that can cause us to get angry. And then he moved on to how we should deal with anger. The one I liked the best was the first one. Don't confuse passion with power. Just because somebody's loud, just because somebody's repetitious, just because somebody keeps saying something, doesn't mean that it's something you should hold on to, and say like, oh, wow, they must be right because they called me this so many times, or because they told me that this is the way we should do something. God puts stuff in our own spirit to help direct and guide us. So just because someone is being passionate and loud about something doesn't mean they're the one you need to be listening to. Always still listen to God. He went on to say, practice prioritizing your pain. And he said, everything isn't an emergency. And he gave a beautiful story about his son, how, he called his dad like, Dad, I need $300 or something like that. And he's like, why? Well, I got to take this course online. No, it's like an emergency to his son at the time. But once you stop and you process and you realize what's going on, not everything is something you got to run to God about. Like his son could have said, you know what, I need $300. Let me think of a way I can get $300 to take this course I want to take. It wasn't something so urgent, like no one was bleeding, no one was being arrested, where to call your dad and like, Dad, I need this done, like all this urgency, right? So he's telling us the same thing. We need to seek God, not for lifestyle problems. We need to seek God more for things that are going to help in our healing and help us, as saints, Thirdly, he said, manage the mission over the misery. Stop creating children, he said, that have no discipline. And he gave this cute story about a little kid on the airplane. You have to watch it. I'm not going to give it away. There's a little kid acting like a little maniac on the plane he was on. He told us that story. So I'm going to let you guys listen to it. I'm not going to give it away. That's the beautiful thing about sermons. They give parts of their lives in these sermons. And it made everybody said, we're right with you, Pastor. I would have done the same thing, or I would be thinking the same thing. So if you get a chance to check it out, please do. So he said, stop creating children that have no discipline. Teach them and yourself to walk in their purpose and know that God is blessing their mission. It was a really good sermon. Resa, will you watch it?
Of course, I will definitely watch it, especially because, as everybody does it. If you don't know, I will explain. I am on my season of healing. I have been for close to a year now, almost, or maybe about a year. But anyway, because I am, working on myself and healing and all that stuff, I think a sermon like this would be helpful, because sometimes you do need to learn how to check your anger and also realize that, anger is not passion.
Now, when you say you're on your season of healing, you didn't recover from an accident or anything. Like, can you give a little more in depth on why you think? I don't want people starting to email you at your email address thinking, oh my gosh, I hope you're recovering okay. And they don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there wasn't an accident, or there wasn't some type of unfortunate event. It was just that I got to a place where I just wanted to be better. And I was tired of, having this, I call it a cycle, where it was I'd be good for a couple months, then I might be a little depressed, and then all of a sudden it would just start back up again, to be like a hamster wheel. So I kind of hit a point where I'm just okay, I need to make some changes, because I'm tired of doing the same thing every 6 months, and then I get frustrated. Mm-hmm. So that is what it was basically the start of me turning my life back over to Christ
and doing a reset.
Yeah.
That's what you talked about before. And you know what, I've seen some remarkable changes in you since you rededicated your life back to Christ. And it wasn't that you weren't into Christ before. Let me get that clear. She was a church girl before, but it was like being busy with work and responsibilities and stuff like that. She's got bogged down into work and stuff so much that, you know, God had taken a back burner a little bit. And so she's like, nope, I'm resetting. I'm putting him more forefront in my life, letting him help me with some of the things going on. And all of us should do that. When you see that, you know, things are not balanced and even, you try to find a way to make it more even and more faith-based to help you get through. So that's what we're talking about. Right, Resa?
Right.
All right, great.
So I just want to clarify.
Yeah, you got to clarify that you were not going in the hospital or nothing, so nobody start sending you flowers.
Right. It was just that, again, I had to rededicate myself back to Christ and just realize that when I am going through a trial, that I'm not going through it alone. Like, I have Christ, I have my parents, I have my sister, I have my close friends. I'm not going through it alone. That's
definitely. And we have great music at the same time too.
And that's it.
That is a great thing for mood lifting, really, isn't it? I mean, I think people don't realize how much music can actually help you in your emotions. Like, if you're mad and you play a mad song, you could stay mad.
Right.
I hate you so much right now, you know, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or if you want to have joy in your spirit and everything else, playing something that makes you joyful, like that praise song that you had, When I Pray, last week. I think I played that a lot this past week, girl, because I was like, where's that song Resa said? Playing it when I pray, like, yes, Lord, let me just get all in connection with you. And it really helped me. It really kind of helped me through last week because it was hard. Last week was hard for me.
Yeah, like you have to have, I call it safeguards. So whether it's music, making sure that you are only taking in positive things. That's also a situation too. Like if you're in a negative environment, you may have to change that environment, whether it's the people you hang around, that could also be another like situation in itself. But if you put safeguards up and you have certain outlets, whether it's different songs you like, different shows you like, or, you know, movies, that can definitely help you get into a better headspace.
That's true. And that's why we built the podcast the way we did, to not only give the post commentary on the sermons, but to also give music review and movie reviews, because there's a lot of things that people can have in their lives that can help them on their walk with Christ. And we wanted new and rededicated saints, Christians, to know that, because it's so hard when you're starting your walk again to not backslide. Not that backsliding doesn't happen to the best of them. We're not judging anybody. We just want to make sure you have things, safeguards, things in your tool belt to help you, like to know where a couple good sermons are that you can listen to that you might not have listened to yet, and some songs you might want to add to your playlist, or some movies you might want to watch. I think we're definitely making sure all the arts are represented, right?
Yeah, because we love the arts. Here.
We love the arts.
We love the arts.
We really do. All right. So those of you that are interested in listening to Pastor Quick's sermon or watching it, Get Out of Your Feelings, his June 26th sermon, please tune in to YouTube, to the FBC Somerset channel, and listen to his sermon there. All right, let's go on to the Potter's House in Dallas, Texas. Oh my goodness, Resa. When I turned on the pre-show and heard them talking about them debutantes, I was like, really? They still doing cotillions down there? I had no idea that the Potter's House puts on a beautiful cotillion. They're on the 25th year. Did you know?
I honestly had no idea, but I kind of got like a little jealous because I was like, I wish I would have had a cotillion. Yes, I had a quince. I saw Mariah Carey, love her, but I would also would have loved to have a little cotillion too.
No, I mean, my first thought when I saw it, and they were highlighting their distinctively debutante cotillion on Sunday, right? And when I first saw, my first thought was, that's better than having a sorority. It really is. I mean, I know it's not for college ages, for high schoolers and younger at that church, but I said, that's really better than having a sorority. You have these young women that have sponsors in the church that are, and they're going through a 7-week process. Or is it 7 months? It might be it's 7 months, I believe, because they go to one session each month, I believe, for 7 months. And I was like, this is pretty darn nice. They're making sure these young women are, learning certain things, and that they have, they are being refined as young ladies. There's some things I would have tweaked, of course. I ain't going to say that on this podcast, because if I ever get blessed enough to be able to launch my own little program, there's some things I would have tweaked to be very different. But it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful, wasn't it, Resa? I felt like each one of the young ladies got little tiaras. Did you see them in church with their tiaras on, Resa?
I did. They actually, to me, looked like little princesses. They had the crown and they had the dresses. And I was like, oh.
I know. I felt like every parent in the room is like probably telling their little girls that aren't that age, you can be a debutante one day. And if you're too old enough, you're too old to do it. They were saying to their daughters, well, don't worry. When you have a daughter, you can have her be a debutante. Because I felt the same way. I felt like, oh man, I wanted to be a debutante. They made it sound like something that everybody wants to do, like a Disney princess. I couldn't go do that.
I want to have that moment to have like my gown and the crown.
I know, right?
I'm too old though. So.
I know. But if God blesses this podcast, we will definitely try to put together something for the young women. Have our own little kind of debutante thing. That would be nice. You know, it won't be based on what the Potter's House is doing, but it's definitely going to be nice if God blesses us in that way. But they did, I wanted to say from us with the Quickness, it was a beautiful program. The young ladies looked beautiful in their beautiful white gowns being announced, and to see them in the sanctuary this Sunday with their tiaras on, that was a nice touch. That was a really nice touch. Tell the girls to wear their crowns to church. That was nice. Every woman should wear their crown when they get a chance, right, Resa?
I know. I'm like, I want a crown.
I know. Forget about being a young one for crown. Be a grown woman with a crown. Be a queen. That's right. Okay. So in the Potter's House, the praise and worship team, they set the tone with two great songs, Lord, You're Mighty and Build Your Church. And then Bishop T.D. Jakes walked into the sanctuary and began his sermon, It's a Faith Thing. And he was out of using two scriptures in particular. One was Hebrews chapter 11, verses 3-6 of the King James Version. That is where by faith, we understand that the universe was formed by God's command. And without faith, you cannot please God because he requires believers to know that he exists so he can reward those that earnestly seek him. And then the other scripture he touched on a little bit was Matthew chapter 4, verses 1 and 2 of the King James Version. That's where Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And he fasted 40 days and 40 nights and was very hungry. When he said, when I read the scripture that said 40 days and 40 nights, I said, I say that a lot, Resa, since you've been growing up, don't I?
Yeah, I was going to say, is that where we got that from, the 40 days and 40 nights?
Yeah. Every time there's something long in our family or very long, I said, oh my gosh, that was so long, like 40 days and 40 nights. It was so long. That's been something we were saying in this family since Resa was a small child. So now it's become a thing. Every time we talk about something taking a long time, it took 40 days and 40 nights. And then to have the Daniel's fast that we did for Pastor Quick to say 40 days, we both looked at each other and said, 40 days and 40 nights. Now, going on into the sermon, Bishop T.D. Jakes started off by saying, be strong in your faith. That's one of the big takeaways he wanted the saints to come away with. In this world, you must be strong enough to stick by your opinions and values when they're challenged. He said, God has a way of not showing up until his presence needs to be known. And he also said, faith is God's lowest denominator. It's not by works, but by faith. So, and I think that's really important because that's the one thing that makes all of us even right now. God just wants us to have complete faith in him. You can't go wrong there as a new believer in Christ. If you have the belief, and that's one of the things that both of these men of God, Pastor Quick and Bishop Jakes, have said at the end of their sermons, to come down if you wish to accept Christ into your life, right? That invitation. It's all about faith. It's not about show us how many times you've prayed, recite any scriptures, tell us who can vouch for you as being a good person. It's just based on faith. Do you believe that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior? And if you say yes, and that's what you honestly believe, then that's the only thing that's required at the beginning to accept them into your life. Just accept them, and then the rest of it will come. The rest of it will come. Learning how to pray will come. Learning how to read your scriptures will come. Fellowshipping with the saints, your good works and services and deeds, all that comes later. But it's not a requirement to become a Christian. The requirement is belief, having faith. And that's the beautiful thing about it, you know. He goes on to say, hope is a prerequisite for faith. He said, the enemy wants to kill your hope. Verbal abuse kills hope. And faith is the substance of things we hope for, not seen. So it's up to all of us to remember to don't have things around us that's going to kill our joy and kill our hope. And that goes back to what you were saying about taking this time to reset. That's a real good resetting thing to have in your life. It's like, I'm not going to have things that are like, what do they call them? Energy vampires, used to call it in the 90s.
Yes,
they just come around and just suck all the good stuff out of your life. And that's important because you can have people that can take you from being hopeful to, no hope whatsoever. And Bishop Jakes gave an instance where a woman or man that's being abused, the first thing your abuser does is isolate you. And, and they keep pouring into you negative things, so you will lose hope. Because people keep wondering, why don't you leave? Why don't you go to people that are in that abusive situation? Sometimes it's because of what you're enduring to the point where you feel like you don't know if you can go.
This is very true. And I will say, because I've noticed this a lot as of lately, especially on social media, I feel like a lot of people are going through like a reset period, because I just saw, before we started taping, like I just saw someone talk about how they're trying to get rid of all of their like vampire, what's the saying again? The energy
vampires.
Yeah, the energy vampire, because a lot of people are like, listen, I'm tired of being around people where I give and I give and I give, and I don't get anything back in return. Or maybe they're in a circumstance where it's just negativity and they're just like, I'm not a negative person and I'm starting to become that, so I need to change like my environment. Mm-hmm. So it's happening a lot, and I'm starting to see it a lot, because a lot of people are posting about it and are talking about it, and they're not talking about it just to get some type of clout. They're just talking about it to say, hey, if anyone else is going through this, like, you're not alone, so I'm also going through it. Mm-hmm. And you can change and you can restart, whether you're 15, 30, 45, 50, however old you are, you can restart if you really want to do that.
And it's important because sometimes you can get into the rhythm of living your life, working your job, paying your bills, and not realizing that some things are draining the hope out of you, where you start getting mad at God or doubting God and things of that sort. And sometimes you just need to reset. Bishop Jakes, he talked in the next part of his sermon about how faith is truth we stand under. He said, accountants account for your money on different columns of their ledger, right? God is like a bookkeeper. He accounts for your righteousness. So walk in what God said you should do. Tomorrow is already fixed. Stop worrying about tomorrow. No one can come up to you and curse your tomorrow because God already has you hedged in. So don't self-sabotage the mission you're on based on what other people are saying to you. Stay focused on your walk with God, because he knows your beginning, your end, and he's with you. He said to the innovators, some of you need to build something and look like a fool to the world, and that's okay. God knows what you're building, and he will build you up. He will keep you on that path. The world will just have to catch up to your vision. I love that. He gave the example of Noah building the ark. I'm sure Noah building the ark looked stupid to a lot of people, looked foolish to a lot of people. But when the rains came and those animals all came in 2 by 2 and they were all secure, he's like, say what you want, bang on the doors if you want. Me and mine, we're good. And so we got to remember that God has us. If what we're doing is his will and we know it's his will, he'll take care of the rest. Don't worry about those that are talking and the naysayers. And that was good for us, Resa, because during the podcast, sometimes you get a little concerned about, okay, are we just talking to each other? Or is other people listening? And I know now, after looking at our analytics, people are listening, and that's great. And we welcome you and we thank you. First of all, first and foremost, we thank all of you, because it's not easy being a new podcast or being new on YouTube. It is not an easy thing. Every view helps, every like helps, every new subscriber helps us get our message to more Christians in social media. Social media is a really wicked place, right, Resa?
Yeah. Honestly, it can be. I feel like social media it can be a double-edged sword. Mm-hmm. If you're using it to give out good in the world, it will multiply. but you can also use it to give out negativity, which can also multiply. So it really depends like what your intention is, which goes back to what we had said before. I think a couple episodes back, like as long as your intention is good, like God will take care of the rest. But if your intention is not good, then you might have some hurts.
That is so true. I mean, you can turn anything good or bad in this world. Social media is, let's be perfectly clear, it's not a thing doing something to people. It's people on a platform saying and doing things to each other. That's basically what it is. This is not a machine making anyone be a certain way. These are real humans that are sharing their experiences, their opinions, their information on a platform that's being viewed by other humans. So it can only be as good as those that wish to do good are on it, and can only be as bad as those that aren't are doing bad. So that's why it's very important, like Pastor Henderson said last week, get on the platforms. Don't demonize it. Get on the platforms and make a change, do something different, help the current of good rise higher than the current of those that are doing things that are pulling people down. There's bullies on the internet right now. Trolls, they gave them a name. They called them trolls that come on people's platforms and they say negative things. It's terrible. So be a light. You don't have to have a YouTube show or a podcast like we have, right? But you can be in the comments and say something positive. Maybe you have a star, like we love Mariah. People have been mean to Mariah, but I bet you money, nobody in her family is mean. They come out full force going, no, Mariah, they're wrong. You're wonderful. Or we love that song or whatever. And that helps and encourages her. We should encourage those. The reason why we tell our listeners and our viewers to go listen to the sermons is because the more you listen and like and subscribe to different sermons and good talks, the more that YouTube algorithm pushes it out to other people to listen to. And we need the good to go far and wide and across the earth, so God's message can get to as many people as possible. So if you have a man or woman of God that you listen to, and it's not, Bishop Jakes or Reverend Quick, that's fine. Make sure not only to listen to it, but to like it, to make a comment below it, so that information, that sermon can get pushed to other people. Because we need more good going out, right, Resa?
I agree. And this actually reminds me, there is a woman, she is a life coach, her name is AJ Johnson, and she was talking about how she was having a conversation with another actress who had like, I want to say she had like a mean girl streak at one point, and she asked her point blank, and she was like, okay, so you being mean to that person, how did that help you? Did that actually get you that role you wanted? Did it get you that car you wanted? Did it get you that house you wanted? So I say that all to say, when people go online and they spew out negative things, that actually says more about them than it does the person they're talking about.
Exactly. Thank you for that. That is so true. Now to end what Pastor Jakes was saying for his sermon, it's a faith thing. He said, as strong as God's word is, you need to remember, no faith, no profit. There's something that God has for you that your faith will need to draw out. So sometimes you have to keep working our faith to get to our blessings. Work it, read your scriptures, pray that prayer, walk the walk in the face of the naysayers and the people, the doubters. Stay on your path, and you can as you keep working your faith, he keeps revealing more and more to you. If you wish to view TD Jakes' June 26th sermon, It's a Faith Thing, please go to his YouTube channel, which is also titled TD Jakes, and look up the sermon for June 26th. You will totally enjoy it. It was very uplifting. I think, Resa, I think you and I both got a lot out of it. What was one of the things that is going to help you this week from what he said?
Oh, definitely to make sure that I keep my hope so I can have my faith. That's a big thing, because again, there are too many things that will try to take you off your path, that'll make you not feel hopeful, and then without hope, you don't have faith.
True. So we hope all of you will check out both of those sermons this week if you get a chance. Now, for our next segment, the screening room. Resa.
Yes.
I was so into this movie. I know Father's Day was last week, but I could not in June about another father kind of oriented movie. So I picked Selfie Dad. It came out in 2020. And I watched it on PureFlix. PureFlix is not a sponsor of With the Quickness. We wish they were, but they're not. But I'm doing their catalog. Why? Because I have a subscription, and that's the best place for me to see all the kind of Christian and faith-based movies. They're all right there. So I'm kind of going through and finding things that appeal to me, like anyone else. Just like people that go through Netflix, they kind of go through and say, do I want to watch this or do I want to watch this? So when I find something I like, I watch it and I review it. And that's how we have the selection for the day. Okay. Now, Resa, I don't know if you got a chance to watch it. Get a chance to watch it yet?
No, and I promise you I will watch it because I do have movie night at my house. It's just that this week was a little, I catching up on sleep.
Okay.
So.
That's okay. Catch up on your sleep. But when you do your movie night again, do this one. Okay. Selfie Dad is funny. It was written by Brad Silverman and directed by him. It stars Michael Jr. I know I made fun last week how some people have one names, but I found out he's a comic. So that's why he has Michael Jr. Condra Pierce, James Denton, Karen Abercrombie, Jamie Grace, Shelby Simmons, Emily Tosta, Jolyn Kristen, Johnny Packard, Delia Wainforth, Juriti, I believe. If I totally messed up your last name, I'm so sorry. Okay. Those are the stars of the film. Now, I need to say something about these stars. Have you noticed that Karen Abercrombie is in almost every movie I'm reviewing?
Yes, I have noticed that.
She's been in a lot of movies. I'm thinking at this point, she might be, as far as Christian movies are concerned, it's Christian stars, she might be the 6 degrees separating herself from other people. You know how you have 6 degrees as Kevin Bacon?
Yeah, I have heard that before. Yeah.
There should be a 6 degrees of Karen Abercrombie. That's my belief. And I'm going to try to prove that next time. If she's in the next film next week, I don't even know if she will be, but if she is in the next film next week, I'm going to see if we can do 6 degrees of Karen Abercrombie to see if it actually works. Like, can you name somebody and I find a way to link it back to her?
Is that a challenge?
Yeah, we're going to if she comes up next week. If she comes up next week in the next movie in some little role, because she wasn't even leading, but she was in this one.
Right.
And then the week before that, she was in that one. And the week before that, I think she was in that one too. So she's like the Cicely Tyson of Christian movies, because she's playing the moms and the grandmas and the sisters and the aunt. She's in there somewhere.
I really feel like you probably could do a 6 degrees
of Karen.
Yeah. And then have different, like, we probably have to put like a little, I don't know what they call it. It's not a diagram.
Like a flow chart or something like that. Yeah, a flow chart.
Yeah,
we need something to show the connections, but we can't just say 6 degrees of Karen, because Karen has other connotations in our society. Right. So it has 6 degrees of Karen Abercrombie, so people know it's a person. Like, like Kevin Bacon, you can't just say Kevin, you have to say Kevin Bacon.
Right.
So I'm gonna see, maybe have you make a diagram. Yeah, maybe make a diagram, Resa. We'll try it. Maybe we'll work on this. We'll see if we can actually do a couple of people and see their degrees of separation to her. I have a feeling she might be the new 6 degrees. We might have just started something.
I think we did.
I think we did. So sorry. Let's get back to the movie. But Karen, keep a watch on us here. If anyone knows her, tell her to tune in to see if we can actually make this work. Here's the brief synopsis of the movie. Now, PureFlix had the film modified a little bit for family viewing. So that's the platform I watched it on. There are other places you can get this movie, but I would kind of suggest watching it on a platform if you're worried about anything that might be in it. I didn't see anything on PureFlix, but I wasn't watching the original version, so something could have been a little more dicier. But here's the brief synopsis. Ben Marcus, he's a husband and a father who finds himself caught in the throes of a midlife crisis. He has a lot to be thankful for, but despite everything he has achieved, he simply isn't happy. He decided that the best way to fill the hole in his life is to fulfill his long set aside dream of becoming a comedian. And what a better way to jumpstart his comedic career than with a YouTube channel. Well, they actually call it You and then T-O-O. Instead of YouTube, they're saying YouTube channel. Now, much to his surprise and his daughter's embarrassment, a video of Ben goes viral. Just like that, his new career as Selfie Dad takes off. And before Ben knows it, he's a social media phenom. So why is he still unhappy? Well, in this film, we also meet Mickey, who's a brash IT guy who's studying to be a pastor. And he knows exactly what's missing from Ben's life. So will Ben be open to hearing about the word? And will he allow his heart and his life to be truly changed? You got to watch the film to find out. Now, the themes of the film are the pressures of fatherhood, faith, social media, the Bible, the power of prayer, family unity, perseverance, and demonstration of faith. You can watch the trailer to Selfie Dad on our website, www.withquickness.com. You'll see it there for the whole week of June the 26th. Now, Resa, I hope you will give it a watch because I love that movie. It's a comedian as the lead, and there's some very funny lines in the film.
Yeah, like I think I'll definitely give it a watch because I do like to watch like family-based movies. So I'll give it a watch for sure.
Oh, good. I like the fact that a dad, gets made aware of how YouTube works and how people can go viral and what going viral is and the statistics. And when his son is telling him, the son's like young, like 12 or something like that, telling him the statistics of everything that's going on YouTube. He's like, wow, you can have that many followers and that's what it means to go viral and all that. Like, because we hear about stuff as adults as we're living our lives and paying our bills, but we're not really into social media the way that the young people are. So this video actually gives you a little more insight to the algorithms of YouTube and how things go viral and what pulls people in and the amount of stress and pressure to try to stay on top of the next big thing you can do or say to get likes and views and subscribers. So, and sponsorship, so I really liked it from that aspect because we not only have a podcast, we have, the YouTube platform. And so you can get caught up if you're not aware, you can get very caught up into trying to perform for YouTube instead of doing something for the Lord when you're a Christian influencer. And that's what we are. I mean, when I actually used that phrase with you this week or today, you were like, oh, wow, I never looked at it that way. You're a Christian influencer, Resa. Did you know that?
I never really looked at it that way until you said it. And I was just like, oh, yeah, I guess I am a Christian influencer. I never really thought about it.
Yeah, you're on a social media platform and you're sharing your insights on something. So you have words that could possibly influence people one way or another, and you're doing it for Christ. So yeah, Christian influencer, you have been deemed. Boing. But I like the fact that the movie does remind us that if you decide to get on platforms such as, doing a podcast or doing YouTube or being on Instagram, you have to look at your intentions of why you're doing it. And if you're deciding to do something for the Lord, whether it's just as going on somebody's page and making a comment, you got to remember who you are and whose you are. And I like that. I really like that. And I also like the fact that the Bible was the basis of the movie in the end, because it's a great book of instruction for all of us, and for all of us to actually have a film that restates that in some way that's kind of fun and lighthearted and kind of drives it home in a way that is nice entertainment was really great. So I think you'll enjoy it. I think
I think I will too.
Yeah. So give it a watch the next movie night, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So the next part of our show would be, this is where we would normally have a segment called Before the Bema Seat. If you would like to share your story of your Christian experience that will inspire new and rededicated Christians, please visit www.withthequickness.com and select the Bema Seat tab. There you can fill out our interview form so we can schedule a virtual interview with you. You can also email bemaseat@withquickness.com to begin the guest process. I'll be saying that until we have a guest, Resa. I'm not giving up. I knew he was going to laugh at me. I knew you were going to laugh.
Oh, man.
And it's okay because if you've ever been around any missionaries that work for their churches, they knock on a lot of doors. And not all the doors open, Resa. Sometimes all the doors don't open. And now these days, I don't think anybody's knocking on doors. I think they're doing everything virtually. But back in the day when I was young, They used to knock on doors, and they would wait for someone to open the door and they say, hello, I'm so-and-so, so-and-so, and we're from the church of whatever, right? So I'm just going to leave it open until we have people that wish to share their experience. I'm thinking too, if we have no one for next week that's willing to share, to actually share a story of someone that of their Christian experience. So people will know what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for you to give me a conversion story. That's not what we're looking for. Just something you can share. It could be something in your walk of faith. Anything that you, so I'm going to share probably some little small story. Maybe something from my life might help.
Yeah, like if I feel like if you start first to be the example, then maybe someone might want to do it. Because right now I feel like you are giving me like the physical manifestation of TD Jason's sermon today of having hope by saying this segment every week. Because you're keeping the faith that somebody will do it, but maybe sometimes they need to see an example to see exactly what you're going to ask before they decide to do it.
Okay, sound like a plan. I'll come up with a story that I wish to share that might be great motivation for those that are new and rededicated in the faith, to help them on their walk. That or a cautionary tale. Those are the two things a person can actually tell us. They can tell us something that we need to be aware of, to be like, oh, don't do that, or something that can be motivational. So I will work on that this week as I'm in the editing bay, trying to get this video out. I will think about what I would want to say for next week, if and only if there's no one that fills out the form or ends up sending an email to us saying they wish to be interviewed. Sound like a plan. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right, great. So another show finished, Resa. Now it looks like you're off to watch the BET Awards. Is about to start pretty soon.
Thank you. I definitely will. And I will report back, who wins that category, the Bobby Jones category. And I will also report back on Diddy's tribute performance.
All right, great. Have a great week, Resa. Love you so much. And everyone, I hope you have a great week.
Bye, everyone. Have a great week.
I just can't stop thinking